This school happens to be in Michigan, but it could be any other school anywhere.
Restorative justice is less a tool, really, and more a way of being in the world, a way of being with other people, a way of being in our society, which helps us to understand that our actions have an impact far greater than we might ever have imagined. And when we focus only on taking the punishment, as we do sometimes in traditional school discipline, we find that we lose sight of that connection. Whereas when we're focusing on how do we heal, how do we clean up the messes we make, and we all make messes. How do we heal those? How do we clean those messes up? That's when we find that we're able to really truly be in community.
Restorative justice is a different approach from traditional school discipline.
Under the traditional school discipline process, you look at a situation of misconduct and you ask, what rule was broken and what's the punishment? But restorative justice comes at that same situation of misconduct from a different angle. Restorative justice asks, what harm was caused by this incident and how do we heal that harm? By changing the approach from punishment to healing, we have found that we have empowered students, we have opened the possibility up for education, and we have created much stronger community with the students who have used this process.
Fourth grader Sydney Littau has found that restorative practices can help. When friendship issues led her to her school's Peace Center, she used restorative justice to solve the problem.
I went to the Peace Center because I had troubles with my friends, and I wanted to be friends again, but I didn't know how to do it.
In early childhood, we talk about wanting children to internalize rules, which is why we tell them the reasons for rules. Well, beyond this is a rule and this is not a rule, when you get into the social aspect of life, there aren't, black and white rules. It's not this is right and this is wrong. It's very situational, so it's much more difficult for children to internalize what is appropriate socially and what is not appropriate socially. So giving children these tools at a young age and giving all children the tools is going to help them be more successful.
We all sat on the table and we had a ball, and she would give it to the first person and the first person would tell their story, and then they'd let everybody else go around and nobody could talk when they didn't have the peace ball.
Growing up, there was nothing like this, when I was growing up that I can recall. And for her to be able to be able to deal with conflict better, communication-wise, is so much better than, from when I was growing up, where, fights were involved and whatever or not. This is so much better for her, and to learn the process.
After that, we went back to our classroom and we actually made up a sign if we didn't want to talk to them because we were too mad. And so every time we don't really want to talk to them, we make up a sign that goes like that.
I think if we're careful about training children at an early age in terms of how to handle conflicts, how to handle stress, how to handle their emotional brain, so to speak, that we will have far better students at a middle school level, we'll have far more capable students at the high school level, and healthier adults, ultimately, later on down the road, who will be able to handle their conflicts in a peaceful, productive manner. And if we can feel a little bit more with our hearts instead of with our fists, we certainly would have a far better world for all of us to live in.